So now it's time to get to the interesting part of the story.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So everyone remembers when the whole 50, not even the 502 phase, we're talking about like straight medical phase, which was when dispensaries were first starting to make, like, I can't even say make noise. They were just, people were trying to open them. The state was trying not to. It was like a big battle, whether it wasn't even the state. It was federally. Federally, they were having a problem with it. State-wise, they were like, nah, go ahead. And so it was becoming like
The new prohibition.
yeah, definitely. It was becoming a thing. And Casey here was part of that. Casey said one day that he was going to do this. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, he's not a talker. So if Casey says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he went ahead and opened up what I believe, to my knowledge, is the first one open.
They were the first the crosses.
You know,
were the first ones. There
yeah.
was like we were one of the first ones with the, you know.
So your franchise, your group, yeah. Yeah, and so he opened Lacey Cross. Lacey Cross ended up being actually pretty, like, kind of a staple around here as far as that went. They became one of the more bigger, popular ones that blew up fast. But Casey brought quite a bit of attention to himself from that. And then not only that, he was also speaking up, going to meetings and stuff like that, trying to speak up for
city council meetings.
Yeah, against all the councils to try and make this stuff happen, and you know, because people wanted it, you know, and a lot of people were trying to fight against it. So he became a voice for it, and he's pretty well known for that. A lot of people know that he did that, and you know, there's a crazy story that comes along with all that. So why don't you tell us about your whole cannabis experience, I guess, when you opened up the Cross?
I think it's the one thing in my life that I learned some really hard lessons from, that if I could go back and change it and never do it, I would.
Yeah.
I would leave that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I still regret it every single day of my life. And just because, and I think it's more of a personal experience for me. I was raised up to this position that I wasn't expecting to be in. You know, kind of this figure, this, like you said, kind of community figure that's doing this. But that's not the name that I kind of wanted for myself necessarily at that time. You know, being the guy that's, you know, we had that video, How High Is Too High to Drive, and that went so viral. It was like 10 million hits in a matter of weeks.
I remember you asked me to do that, and I said no.
Dylan did it instead of
Dylan
you.
did, yeah.
That was so fun.
I remember, yeah.
But yeah, it just, you know, being involved with the federal government was no place that I ever should have been. You know, it was just like I just wasn't cut out for that position. And so after the second raid, it took so much out of me, you know, having guns shoved in my face for the third time because of the robbery. Big guns, not regular guns, just big damn guns shoved in your face like that. For somebody like me, it's so traumatizing. And then I think the worst thing was, you know, seeing this stack of papers on a table and them saying, you want to check this out? And so I started reading through the papers, and every single step that I had made for the past year of my life. I mean, everything, you know, talking about my son, you know, but, you know, they talked about whoever they were talking about in there, about these, you know, kind of random people, but it was like my entire life laid out that they had been investigating me like I was Al Pacino or something.
And I'm not gonna lie, I got my own theory to that. I'll talk to you about it off camera, but it was kind of like
Al Pacino, but you know what I mean.
Well, no, it kind of was like that. Like, it kind of got to a point where everyone kind of wanted something to do with it. Like, I mean, even at you would walk into Applebee's. I remember they'd treat you like a god in there.
Yeah.
And you're like, you hungry? And I'm like, yeah. And then they'd throw you, here, you can have these 2 meals that they're gonna give me for free because of who I am. They're all gonna throw this food at me, and it's insane. I was like, that's crazy. But I could tell at that point that people were very intrigued by this, and they thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
That's the thing.
You know?
I thought it was cool.
Everyone thought it was
What
cool.
I remember about that was being able to talk to Rick Simpson, the actual Rick
Did you really?
Simpson. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he came up and told me about his products and stuff. And I was like, I need to get into doctors. So I was trying to get into doctors to see if I could be the guy that sat in with somebody that was having a terminal cancer meeting.
Yeah.
Because I had been through it.
Yeah.
I hate those, you know. Go in with somebody that could have a terminal cancer meeting and say, hey, I might have an option to make your life better. You know, it's just something to help. And then maybe there's a surprise that maybe that Rick Simpson oil could have done something even more than just.
It's done some pretty amazing things.
It has, you know. So that was kind of what was on my mind. That was all that was on my mind. I was thinking about stuff like that, and the fact that it was becoming such a cool thing to be.
Yeah.
That's what took over, and and before I even knew it, and then I'm sitting there, kind of this chump kid, like not knowing what to do, not wanting to be, you know. It was fun when we were doing our concerts, you know, because like everybody knew me at that point, and we were like throwing out T-shirts from the cross, and it was like I felt like a celebrity at one point, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, you know, and stepping back now, I hate it.
A lot came from it. I mean, I would say, you know, when people get that kind of money and they assume that something like that comes so fast, I feel like you don't have time to prepare for it. And when you don't have time to prepare for something like that, you don't know how to handle it. Because you're like, I didn't expect this to just happen like this. So maybe if you could have prepared it, had it all planned out, you're like, hey, when this happens, I'm going to be ready for this, and this is going to happen. But we don't know that. And because we don't know that, you were kind of just, you know, you were that guy.
I
you know?
hadn't even gotten a chance to heal from my back surgery. When they get the first raid to come in, and they shove their knee in my back to put me down, and it was in my back again.
But wait, before we get to that part, because that's obviously part of this story. Did you get raided before or after the robbery? To me, they're both robberies.
Oh man, see, that's what I was gonna say.
But
as I just don't, I have no concept of time. Any of that anymore. It's like the robbery happened. Oh, it happened after, because I remember thinking.
Well, I had just left, and we were still doing rehearsals next door. It happened.
Oh no, it happened before. I think it happened before.
It had to have, right?
Yes, because the thing is, I was like, if they were when they raided us, I remember thinking this: if they were watching us, why didn't they stop those guys? They saw that robbery.
Oh yeah.
They had to have seen that goddamn robbery. They were across the street watching everything.
Sure, yeah, that's creepy, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, Case had some guys come in and tie him up and take his money and all that.
He shoved a shotgun in my face.
That's right. Yeah, and then you opened the safe. I mean, dude, what are you supposed to do? You tried not to, though, right?
No, I just, I was shaking so bad.
Yeah.
I kept hitting the numbers twice, and I was way taller than both of them.
Yeah.
So I've been making them nervous anyways, and so they were trying to get me down on their level. I'm like, that's. Is
that the first time you ever been through anything like that?
Oh my God, yes. Just drawing the wrong attention.
Yeah. So then after that, you kind of just went back to doing things as usual, right? Everything was going fine after that. And about how long after that? Because I remember when I was helping in my brother's medical place, I remember that undercovers were constantly coming in the shop trying to get in. And I was always like, no, you can't come in. They'd be like, come on, bro. Come on, just gonna have my ID, bro. Come on, man. I'd be like, no, you're not coming in here. Like, they're always doing stings.